So one thing that I advocate for strongly, especially early stage, is getting really good at telling your story and like figuring out what the narrative is. So founders usually have their own pitch and maybe it works for them. It's not always what's going to work for the first AE or the first sales leader.
So now you have the sales leader that you've hired, and now it's time to show them what has worked for you. How can you relay that to your new sales leader so they can build that playbook to make it repeatable to get to that next stage that you want, whether it's an acquisition, IPO, or another round of funding?
I spend a lot of my time with founders trying to craft these narratives. And what I find is usually before the sales leader comes in, the founder narrative is very product and feature oriented, very light on what value it's going to bring to customers and like telling a very strategic, like visionary story.
Founders sell very differently than salespeople do, and you can't build a repeatable sales process on how founders sell. And the reason why is normally founders are subject matter experts in whatever they're creating. When you hand that process off to a salesperson that doesn't have that background, they don't carry the same gravitas in that conversation. And so the believability when they go to explain that story can be lower than when the founder tells it. When a salesperson doesn't have any FP&A experience and calls the CFO up and says, hey, aren't you stuck in spreadsheet hell? They say, what? Yes, that's my job, and hang up on them, right? And so we have to really take that story and turn those into vignettes of like, listen, my name is Arman, I'm calling from Clockwork. I work with a lot of companies that are really frustrated with these three things: not being able to grow their business fast enough because they can't find the right talent. They're worried that because they're stuck in menial tasks all day, that they can't elevate their service level and therefore their customer base can be at risk. And finally, being able to pay accountants for what they're actually good at, which is advising, versus just being stuck in spreadsheets all day and not getting the full value of their talent. I just translated all of the stuff that we just said earlier into a repeatable story that anybody can tell, have the listener say, oh, wow, yeah, that does sound like me. I want to know more, right? At its foundation is there's an art and a science to how salespeople operate and how they translate that real founder story into that process that all businesses rely upon to ultimately scale.